you're still watching Fut-Afrique, as you know that the Afcon is upon us, and as Fut-Afrique, we're anticipating all the roller coaster of emotions, the ups, the downs, the laughs, the tears, and man, oh man, all those unforgettable moments. This week, we're talking about Group E, where we see very interesting countries that know each other and others who are making a return. Tunisia, Brian, a country that has had a lot of ups and downs within their association, but it seems that the Carthage Eagles, that's definitely what they needed, because as much as there's a lot happening in the offices, on the field of play, they just seem to be rising to the occasion.
I think if you remember the 2022 World Cup, when they upset France, right at the end, they're knocked out eventually, but it was another good story. You know, the man in charge was, if you look at the story of how he became the coach, so it's interesting. He was assistant coach at some stage, then the coach caught COVID around the COVID era, then he eventually just came in. Then immediately after the Afcon tournament into the World Cup, he therefore took over as the man in charge of the Tunisian national team. They're the highest ranked team in our country that are in this group.
Oh yes, number 3.
So, I mean, if you talk about that on its own, will put you in a position where you know that they're way there, you know. Jalal Qadri has done very well. I mean, he's gotten them to qualify for the competition. The winners of their group as they come in here. You spoke about familiarity. These nations know each other very well. You know, Jess will talk to you about South Africa later on and the story of they actually being. South Africa and Tunisia are the only ones in this group who have won the Afcon before in this group. But also, very interesting is that this is now the 4th time where Tunisia find themselves in the same group as Mali.
Really?
4th time.
Tunisia and Mali, if you go back to the previous Afcon, Tunisia was kind of like upset because of Mali, right? And I think that's Mali's power. I feel like they just need to step onto the accelerator and believe. You know, a lot of accidents happen because people don't commit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not sure, am I going to turn? You know? I just feel like Mali has to believe because there's so much upsets that they can cause.
I mean, a Mali story is always an interesting one. If you remember Seydou Keita has always been a star player. We remember the 2010 Afcon in Angola. 4-1 down with 15 minutes to go. They scored 3 goals, made it 4-4 in Angola. They've always been involved with some very spicy matches.
That's some Jomosono magic.
It's been all absolutely brilliant. I mean, those 3 meetings between them, Mali has won 2 matches and there's been 1 drawn match. So the 3rd Afcon in a row, they find themselves in the same group. In 2019, they're both in Group E, as they are in Group E now. In 2021, they were in Group F. And then in 1994, when Tunisia hosted the tournament, they were in Group A with Mali. They lost the game against Mali. So those are some of the things that are very important coming into a match of this magnitude. You know, Mali, when you look at the qualifying phase, they mean business.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's go to how they qualified and how they got themselves thus far.
Yeah.
Mali, obviously, an incredible record. Yeah. What does that say about them also?
Listen, I mean, if you look at the qualifying phase of this Afcon, given the fact that you had plenty more groups and therefore you saw 2 countries just coming out and qualifying from the groups, it meant you knew that you needed to start winning matches very early for you to be able to get yourself into the tournament proper, which is number 1. Number 2, there was just no room for error in the qualifying phase. So once you have done away with that, because you're already thinking World Cup qualifiers are coming up. So within the same calendar year, you were talking Afcon and World Cup qualifiers. So you needed to balance it out to make sure that you're able to still deliver very well in the Afcon qualifiers and still going to do the same when it comes to the World Cup qualifiers at the same time. So that was the tricky thing for people to try and balance out. So having said that, at the same time, when you talk about, historically speaking, I mean, Mali's best performance, 97-2 runners-up. You know, and they've also had their own problems in missing the tournament in between.
Yes.
You know, it's only their 13th appearance they'll be making now from a Malian point of view. Tunisia, on the other hand, they're now in the 20s. You know, they're sitting now, tournament number 21 is going to be playing on now. Only won it in the 2004, as mentioned, when they were the host nation. And they come in here now knowing that given the fact they were part of the nations that went to the World Cup, and then that they were ousted by a Moroccan team that got to the semi-finals.
I was about to say there was a lot that was expected from Tunisia at the World Cup. And unfortunately, they didn't live up to those expectations. Do they still have scarred hearts and they want to correct and mend them?
Listen, a player like Msakni, Msakni will know. This might just be a tournament.
He was one of the top scorer,
Yeah, he was. He'll think that, you know, this is one of the ones that after this, I'm done. I'm not going to be able to return anyway. So one of those players who want to try and do very well. You also Ali Malul, as I mentioned earlier on. Sleety is going to come to the party. Jaziri is going to be there. Jouini is another player to talk about. So that's from a Tunisian point of view. While Mali also has some star players of their own to come out and do some great stuff. So I'm looking forward to this. I know that people will tell you that in this group, it's always going to be either Mali, Tunisia, or Tunisia, Mali, and the rest will have to fight for something else. But I think Andy Jess will have a different spice around it.
Of course, you know her. She said what Mauritania's going to go through.
Yeah.
Jeez, I still haven't forgotten that. Well, that's the story of Tunisia and Mali. Tunisia obviously had a massive upset when it came to the FIFA World Cup that took place out in Qatar. The big question is, can they turn things around? But this side, not on the world stage, but on the African continent.